Hey, what's up, fam? TJ here with the Gig Life Vlog, another episode. Man, last weekend was pretty wild. It was, pretty awesome weekend. Played 3 gigs. First one on the Thursday at, one of my favourite places in town to play, The Cry. They do the excellent rib special on a Thursday, and again, you don't get this size without loving ribs. It's one of those things that happens, but hey, it's absolutely worth it every time. And, then on the Friday, went out to Emu Park. It was the first time I ever played Emu Park, and played at a place called the Pine Beach Hotel, which I'd never been to before. And, got a little bit of a lesson in judging books by the cover, because, not gonna lie, kind of went there and wasn't expecting the greatest gig. And, there was nothing on their behalf. That was because of my own sort of anxiety. It's always a bit weird going into a new place for the first time. And, so that's entirely on me, because I get anxious about new venues, and I always kind of get a little bit worried because I don't play, as anyone who's seen me knows, I don't play a lot of the more common songs, and I held a retirement party a few years back, where since that gig I don't do Cold Chisel, I don't do AC/DC, I don't do Bryan Adams, I don't do the Eagles, I don't do Creedence, I don't do Daryl Braithwaite, or any of these things that are just completely overplayed, in my opinion, because I don't enjoy playing them. And that leads me to always kind of being a little bit anxious when I play new venues. Because, when I play a venue that I play at frequently, the people there understand. They know, the regular clientele know that, I'm going to be doing something different, something that they're not expecting, something that, no one else is doing in town, or in the region. But, when you go to a new venue, it's, people don't know what you do, so they just assume you're like every other muso, and then get pissy at you because you're not playing Creedence, or whatever. In saying that, still very glad that I retired all that stuff, because, man, I'm having the time of my life. I'm getting more work now because I don't play that music. So it's worked out great for me professionally. But, so there was a lesson in not judging a book by its cover and trusting in what I do. Because, I went there and I played obscure Dandy Warhol stuff. I played Metallica stuff off the album that people don't like. Reload. People don't like Saint Anger too, but we don't even talk about that album's existence. And it was a lot of fun. And then on Saturday, I played after the game for the Rockhampton Cyclones and Rockhampton Rockets. I've got a long history with Rockhampton basketball. I play myself in the, senior comp, in the Div 3 senior comp on Tuesday nights. And, I've had a lot of my friends have played for the Rockets in the past. And then I just, kind of fell into a position where I occasionally get the opportunity to play after some of the big games. And, it was the last game of the regular season for the QBL, which is one of the funnest comps to watch in Australia, in my opinion, because I really enjoy watching basketball as well as playing it. And both the Cyclones and the Rockets picked up wins, and that makes me a happy guy, because I'm a big fan of both teams. So after the games, I got to play on the main court, in Hegvold Stadium. Got to play music for an after party, which is fantastic, and fingers crossed going to get to do another one soon if my schedule and their schedule kind of marries and again. So quick update that I wanted to give here was on the 2 New Challenge, hashtag 2 New Challenge, where, been getting a lot of great support and feedback about it. A lot of people are already kind of telling me about some of the new things that they've been doing, been sending me messages, chatting to me on my personal Facebook, that sort of stuff, which is absolutely awesome to see. I've started it myself. And if you don't know what it is, the 2 New Challenge, hashtag 2 New Challenge, is I want you to go and do 2 new things. To find 2 things that you haven't done in your town or in your little region of the country. And I want you to do it during August. Between beginning of August, end of August, or between now and end of August, go out, do it. Find a new, go and try that restaurant or that coffee house that you've been thinking, oh yeah, I really should get around to checking them out. I've heard great things. Or go out, go to a new part of town. Like if you enjoy doing the whole walks or the runs thing, like you're into the fitness and you want to go jogging, going to want to go walking or something. If you play Pokemon Go, I still do. We all do. It's all cool. So many of us still do. Go to a different part of town. Go out to one of those parks on the opposite side of town that you never go to. Go check that out. If there's a tourist thing that in your town that you've never actually gone and checked out yourself, now's the time to do it. Go see a band before that you've never seen. Go have a beer in a pub you've never been into that you've kind of passed by a few times. Go to the art gallery if you've never been. Go see a play if there's a play or a musical or something on. Go check out something new. And that's what we're challenging to. 2 new things during August. I did my first one of them while I was in Emu Park. After the show, it's midnight in Emu Park in a town I've never actually stopped at before. I've only ever driven through it. And they've got a thing there called the Singing Ship, which is this kind of like art installation monument tourist thing. And it's right out on a bluff overlooking the harbour. And the way it works, and I'm really disappointed I didn't think to get footage of it at the time, but the way it works is that as the wind comes and hits it at an angle, because it's kind of like, this is the facing inland, and the two parts of the angle face out to sea. And as the wind kind of comes in through here, it actually hits across the top of different sized pipes. Kind of like the same way if you were blowing on the top of a beer bottle or playing the flute. So it gets resonance across that, and resonate and, circulates inside the pipe and then comes back out. And it makes sound through that, and it's kind of eerie and kind of cool. So I would highly recommend, check it out. It was something different, something I'd never seen, something I'd heard about. I've lived in this area for 17 years, 19 if you include 2 years at boarding school before that. Never actually been to check it out, so it was really cool to see. So I'm going to do another one, check out something else new in town, because I've still got one more to do on my 2 New Challenge. So anyway, please take the challenge up. Go see what your region's got to offer, because take a bit of pride in your town. There's a lot more going on than you probably know. And the best way to find out about all this stuff is to talk to people. Talk to the artists. Talk to the people who work in sports. Go talk to the business owners. Go talk to the people who seem to have active lives. And do a couple of new things. I'm challenging you. Nick's challenging you. Josh is challenging you. All the guys here at Rule 34, we're all challenging you. Do this. It's a lot of fun. Quickly, on to the album recommendation of the week, and we're doing something a little bit different this week with the album recommendation. What I want to recommend is a podcast. Because as everyone knows, massive geek, but I'm huge. But one of the things I geek on is history. You know, I'm a big podcast fan in general. You know, I listen to a lot of comedy stuff. You know, Rooster Teeth, Funhouse. I've got my own political podcast as well. But this is what I want to recommend to you, is the Dan Carlin's Hardcore History podcast. And this is your album recommendation of the week. Their latest episode is 5.5, 6 hours talking about the advent and use of nuclear weapons from when they were first formalized and built, you know, from the Manhattan Project all the way through to the Cuban Missile Crisis. And if you haven't heard Dan, this guy's voice is hypnotic. He is super interesting. He's always got so many amazing things that he talks about, and he brings out the humanistic side of history in a way that not many people do. And the way he says it himself is that he's not a historian, he's actually a fan of history. So that's my album and recommendation, is to go check out his podcast, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. It is absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to finish up for this week. I've got a big week coming up ahead of me. I hope you guys, as always, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification button, especially if you're on the Facebook. Because the way Facebook's algorithms work is, if you don't hit notification, if you don't join the notification squad, you're going to be most likely in the 90% of people who won't have my posts or videos or that show up on your newsfeed. Because the way their algorithm works is they just keep cutting percentages down of how many people it actually gets put in front of. Which kind of sucks, but you know, you understand why they're doing it. They're trying to make money. So anyway, hit that like, hit that notification. Be looking forward to each Saturday morning for the live Saturday morning clip, the music, you know, exclusive to Facebook. If you're only watching me on YouTube, get on that Facebook train, man, because you're missing out. You're missing out on what I think is one of the best things I do every week, is throw one of those songs up. You know, if you missed it last week, it was Aeroplane by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know, my little take on that, because that's always been my favorite Chili Peppers song. And sadly, I think it's one of those songs that kind of fell by the wayside a little bit. We got some fantastic music coming up this Saturday. I'm not going to say what it is. Don't want to spoil the surprise. But it's a corker. It's a corker. And if you like that, if you like that 90s sound, I think you're going to really, really dig this one. Anyway, I'll leave you guys to it. Thank you so much again for watching another episode of the TJ Gig Life vlog. And I know I haven't been doing too many of the stories and stuff. That's because I haven't spent as much time on the road recently. But that is going to change soon. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace out, friends.